So the MR2 has plenty of issues, and it's not fair to make the Miata look so easy. We got leaks, smoke, and other little problems we'll be tackling by refreshing the motor. We start by getting the car up on jack stands and removing the wheels. The first thing we do is pop the hood, drain the radiator, and begin removing the coolant reservoir. Also remember that the lines will have some residual coolant in them.
Oh, pickle juice.
Next, we remove the front bumper held on by bolts in the wheel well, under the nose of the car, and under the headlights.
Got the front bumper off.
That's pizza. Big balls.
We decide to remove the fenders to protect them from us damaging the paint by leaning on them and hitting them with tools. The fenders are held on with screws on the mud flaps and fender liner, and with bolts along the engine bay and the rockers.
Oh, there's a rivet, that's why.
We also decide to remove the headlight covers to prevent any damage. Now we remove the upper coolant line to the thermostat.
Is it gonna leak? Should we put a pan underneath?
Don't ask why there's a shirt in there.
We realized we need to remove the intercooler piping to make space for the radiator removal. We need to unbolt the clamps on the hot and cold side, and then the intercooler from the bracket. We were able to carefully remove it all in one piece.
This nice shot of your ass.
Next, we disconnect the radiator fans and then the bottom coolant line.
I'll go get the tapes so we don't forget.
While waiting for the coolant line to drain out, we quickly disconnect the throttle cable. The radiator is held on by 2 bolts on the bottom bracket and then 2 on the top bracket.
No? What else is holding it?
We noticed that the hard lines for the AC were attached, so they needed to be unbolted. Next, we disconnected the vacuum line on the intake manifold. We moved on to the fuel lines, and after trying,
Yeah, there's no shot.
we had to get a little drastic. And then also maybe got a little carried away. Now we disconnect the thermostat, cam sensor, and the ignition coils. There's also a ground on the opposite side of the motor that needs to be removed. On the throttle body, the idle air controller needs to be disconnected. Remember to label these connectors because later it's just going to be one big mess. Next, we disconnect the throttle position sensor, the thermostat,
So, what the frig is this?
and the charge wire on the alternator.
You tighten these.
Next, we remove the AC compressor held on by 4 bolts. We then continued our advanced method of disconnecting coolant lines.
Okay, free.
We disconnected the downpipe from the rest of the exhaust and removed the O2 sensor.
Should probably clean that too while it's out.
Now we remove the slave cylinder
Is there a PC up top? Is there?
and the vehicle speed sensor from the transmission.
Real fucking pay-light ass.
Now we unbolt the power plant frame.
I could really use another set of hands, but
Here,
I
let
just
me-
don't know
let me
who
use my
possibly could help.
Set me up for a foot.
Yep. Is it?
Finally, we unbolt and remove the driveline.
Alright. Is that it?
We were getting the engine hoist ready and decided to remove the plastic bumper support. We realized we forgot to disconnect the coolant line from the turbo as well. Now we need to connect the chains to the front and rear hooks on the motor.
Take this side. One like that.
Next, we unbolted the motor mounts from the subframe on both sides. There is a bracket here that was attached to some hard lines that was holding the engine in place. We kept lifting the motor and the car would come up with it, so something was still holding the motor in place. If you listen carefully, you can hear when we realized what it was.
Oh, fuck. That'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll get you every time.
So now we need to go to the interior of the car, remove the center console, and unbolt the shifter from the transmission tunnel.
How do I get this?
While lifting, we noticed that the power plant frame was still in the way, so we loosened the back as well and we were promptly reminded we forgot to do something.
What's dripping right there?
Right where?
Right there. Steady drip. Now it's a steady drip. What is that?
Oh shit. That looks like transmission fluid.
Coming from?
I don't know, hold on. Fuck, there's a million things in the way. Oh my god, we surrounded this thing with jacks. Oh, there you go. Good thinking.
Where's it coming
We
out?
literally boxed in the other oil pin. It is coming out of
It's a beat.
the input shaft. Or output shaft.
Why?
Why? Probably because we didn't drain it.
It's such a nice garage floor.
You're not working.
Excuse me? I'm directing.
Oh, ow.
It's supervising. You alright?
Yeah.
You know, now that I see it through the camera, it does look familiar. I think we did drain the oil.
Oh!
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a good bark. It's a good knuckle bark. I'm gonna do it again. Do it this way.
Do you want gloves?
Eat my ass. This piece was up touching that.
With the transmission drained and the power plant frame out of the way, we were finally able to move the motor. The next thing that got in our way was the bracket for the ignition coils hitting the firewall. The rest of the process was slowly lifting and checking for anything still connected or in the way. The load leveler helped a lot in tilting the motor back to allow the transmission to come out of the tunnel.
Ow!
There was one more coolant line that we forgot to disconnect on the exhaust side of the motor. We continued lifting the motor out of the engine bay, stopping to make sure that everything was clearing. Towards the end, it helps to have a second person to guide it out.
Go, 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 go! The hood latch. There we go.
So that's all there is to removing the motor. And with the motor out, next time we'll start tearing it down. Until then, thanks for watching.